Why are you giving them and saying that this is going to be better? And what is giving you when you know you have a coach still in place? That was the spearhead of the absolute colossal meltdown. Football dominates, man. No matter what the news is, schedule release, OTAs, first day right now for the Eagles to get on the field with everybody, rookies and veterans. Absolutely awesome. By the way, thank you, Prince. He reminded me. Guys, you guys have been absolutely sensational. We are making a bench mark for 250 likes each and every single day. You know why? Can I tell you why I'm doing that? When people say nothing's going on, that never affects the Sileo show, National Football Show. No way on the planet will that ever affect us. Because of you. And the more work we do now, the easier it is in the fall. That's how I've always looked at it. Oh, and by the way, you're killing these other shows. You're absolutely killing them. We know you have other options. We appreciate you coming here each and every single day to JAKIB Sports and to Big Sills and the National Football Show. I can't thank you enough. All right. Got to tell you. Today, I'm going to make my case. I'm going to make my case. You know, you guys are constantly saying this to me all the time. Josh Allen is overrated. I'm going to make my case to you on why, like many people think, he could be arguably the greatest talent in the National Football League. Okay? And it's not close. And you guys like to bring your guy, Jalen Hurts, up. Also, we will also take a look at Howie Roseman's biggest gamble. Sue, I love me some Josh Allen. Love me some Josh Allen. What's up? N91. Hurts better than Allen. Okay. How many people in here believe that Josh Allen's not as good as Jalen Hurts? How many people would take Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen? Hurts went to a Super Bowl, so did Jimmy Garoppolo. So did Jake Delhomme. So did Colin Kaepernick. Oh, it's not just so much about Josh Allen. I'll admit, Allen is better talent. He just can't win the big games. Really? Okay, that's a falsehood. Hurts took us to the Super Bowl. And so did Jake Delhomme take a team. Well, let me put this out here for you. Here are the quarterbacks that have been the best quarterbacks in the last 3 years in the National Football League. Mahomes, 14,272. 105 touchdowns, 39 picks. Not a shocker. Number 2, Josh Allen. 12,996, 100 touchdowns, only 47 picks. Wow, that's funny. You mean to tell me he's only got 8 more turnovers than Patrick Mahomes? How can that be? You guys said he's a turnover machine. Well, Mahomes must be a turnover machine. He's only got 8 more than Patrick. Justin Herbert, 12,887, 83 touchdowns, 32 picks. He's number 3. Jared Goff, is 12,258, 78 touchdowns, 27 picks. Some of these guys have missed significant time also. Derek Carr, 5th, 12,204, 72 touchdowns, 36 picks. Dak Prescott is 6th, 11,825, 96 touchdowns, 34 picks. These are the top 10 quarterbacks in the last 3 years since your guys have been starting. Number 7, Trevor Lawrence, 11,770, 58 touchdowns, 39 picks. Number 8, Joe Burrow, missed an entire season last year almost. 11,395, 84 touchdowns. Number 9, Kirk Cousins, 11,000 yards, 99, 80 touchdowns, 26 picks. Number 10, Matthew Stafford, 10,938, 75 touchdowns, 76. Where's your boy Hurts in this? Tagovailoa, 10,703, 70 picks, or 70 touchdowns, 32 picks. And here's Jalen Hurts, 61 touchdowns in 3 years. Allen's got 100. Jalen's thrown 30 interceptions. Allen's thrown 47. Mahomes has thrown 9 more picks than Hurts, but these guys have thrown almost 40 more touchdowns than your guy. And their quarterback rating is 10 times. Where are you guys coming up with this notion that he's a better player? Rushing touchdowns do not matter. No rushing quarterback wins Super Bowls. Okay? Hey, Sam, you leave me with the content here because I'm going to make another point here in a minute. Let me show you what your boy Jalen Hurts has been averaging the last 3 years. 3,567 yards and 20 touchdowns and 10 picks. You're not winning a Super Bowl with this. Emmanuel Acho's right. He said this 2 days ago. You don't have a good enough quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Let's do this. Let's look at wins. Russell Wilson never had over 6 rushing touchdowns in a season, ever. Let's look at wins the last 3 years. That should favor him, right? That should favor. Look at Mike. Troy Aikman never had big numbers. The Dallas Cowboys relied on a running game. And the all-time leading rusher in the history of the National Football League. You really didn't have to because Troy was constantly in 3rd and short. You understand that, right, Mike? When you have the NFL's all-time leading rusher, the history of the league as your running back, you're not going to have to throw the ball much. You're not going to. Hey, wins should favor Hurts, right? Wins. That matters. Winning matters, okay? Last 3 years, the most wins by a starting quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes at 36. You know who's second? Josh Allen with 35. Where is your point that this guy doesn't win games? Last 3 years, he's second in the league with 35 wins. Hurts is third with 33. Dak is fourth with 31. Lamar Jackson, fifth with 28. Two are tied at sixth. Tua and Burrow. Derek Carr's got 8. And Cousins also is there at 8 with 25. Can you imagine if you had a decent quarterback, how many more wins you would get? My point is, Emmanuel Acho is right. You don't have a good enough guy to win you a game. That's going to take you over the top. This is the 3-year sample size now. We're not talking about 1 year. This is 3 years of starting football. 3 years. Allen has done more. Allen wins more. He has a higher win percentage. But then again, so do 9 other guys. You don't have a good enough quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You don't. Nobody was ever going to say that Nick Foles was going to go to multiple Super Bowls in Philly. You can get there and win one, Joe Flacco. Or you can get there and lose one and never get back. At the end of the day, this is the point that you're going into training camp. And I'll ask this question to you. Are you more concerned about 2024 with Hurts or with Kellen Moore? Who are you more concerned about? Eventually, the coaching and the player has to supersede that, doesn't he? Sills, pick stats to fit his narrative. No, these are the quarterbacks. It's not just been one. There's 11 guys who have had better 3-year span than Jalen. You've got sensational talent on your football team. My point is, don't let it go to waste. Like you did a year ago. Last year was a waste because the quarterback wasn't good enough. You know what? Here's something that I want to have Eagle fans and everyone. Why are you giving last year? Do you have amnesia? What do you have amnesia? Why are you so forgiving in what happened last year in the second half of the season? Why are you so forgiving? And why are you giving that the benefit of the doubt? Can you answer that? Why are you giving an organization the benefit of the doubt that they're going to radically turn this around like that? Why are you giving them and saying that this is going to be better? And what is giving you when you know you have a coach still in place? That was the spearhead of the absolute colossal meltdown. If Hurts was a top 5 to 7 guy, there's no way they self-destruct the way they did last year. That's absolutely the truth, Duel. If he was as good as said by some, you would never have had that nuclear meltdown and implosion like that, because he would have threw the team out of trouble. That's why. Stop with the coaching. The player has to be. Why are you so forgiving of what happened last year? Either Hurts learns to be a pocket passer or he's done, because eventually his body will break down and won't be able to run. Sam, here's my problem. You have a lot of really good football players on your offense right now. That's as good of a group of offensive players I've ever seen. In the salary cap era, and get this, greatest show on turf, that wasn't salary cap era. This is one of the greatest collections of players I've ever seen here in San Fran. Get this. I'm not sure. Hey, Niner all day. I'm not sure if you have the right guy. And he's superior in the passing game to Jalen. I don't know if he's good enough. Sills, if Hurts ain't it, then what else is there? Q, great question. If he's not it, I'm going down the line of putting a functional guy in there that gets me Kirk Cousins numbers. Why would I pay a guy who's the lesser of 11 other guys in the league? You're paying $50 million. Get this. Hurts has a lot of wins. Can you imagine if he was good? If he was fifth and did what Dak did in the last 3 years, you wouldn't lose a game. You would not lose a game. He's not good enough. 3 years. Get this. I'm done talking 22. This is a 3-year sample size. How many games has he started as an NFL quarterback? Does anyone know that number? I didn't write that number down. Hurts has no. Niner all day. I'm not saying that he has to go. Not yet. I am not saying that. But this is close. This is more of an important year than what people think it is. Jalen Hurts stats. Let's see here how many games that Jalen Hurts has played in. Okay, Jalen Hurts has played in 62 games, and he has started 51 games. 51 games. Regular season. Jalen Hurts has played in 51 games. That's not a big enough sample size for you to determine who he is. You need almost 70 games to figure out who he is. If that's the case, you already know who he is. He's got 51 games as a starting quarterback in this league. 51. Sills, clearly Hurts doesn't care about stats. It's a stat-happy league. Dude, you're telling me, let's just take the top guys out of this. In the last 3 years, you're telling me Derek Carr has better numbers? Trevor Lawrence? I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was even in the top 7. Kirk Cousins? Tua's got better numbers. Of all the quarterbacks that have thrown for TDs in the top 15, Hurts is 20th in touchdown passes. He's 20th. The team wins, like Manuel Acho says. How many rushing touchdowns? I don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You're not good enough to go to the Super Bowl with this guy. He's not good enough to win games that matter. No way, man. You know, you guys always bring that up about Allen is like 10 times the player. Dude, Kirk Cousins. Get this with Cousins. He's got 7 more wins than Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is 8th in the last 3 years in passing in the league. Think about this. Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence. This guy's not winning more than you think. Josh Allen's got more wins. I mean, he already went, so what the hell are you talking about? He'll never get back there, dude. That was a one-up. It was A one of. Never get back there. One more time. Stop using that as that's the only metric he has compared to these other quarterbacks in the league. And I could give you some of the worst quarterbacks ever. Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman won an NFC championship game. Rex Grossman. Brad Johnson has won a Super Bowl. I mean, Hurts been to the Super Bowl and was the best player on that team. I get your point, but with a great team, Hurts proved he can take us there. He was not very good in those playoff games. He played great in the Super Bowl. He was terrible in the Giants game, and he was adequate in the Niner game. I didn't see anything exceptional. The Super Bowl, he was really good in. Absolutely. That's the best game that he's played in the last 20. It's the best game he's played in 20 games. Rex didn't win. Neither did Hurts. Mark Rippon won a Super Bowl. Chills, go back and look at that Giants game. I did. They're not very. Look at the numbers, 130-some yards passing. He was terrible in it. When it comes to losing, nobody beats the Bills. Hurts needs the perfect system. If it's not tailor-made for him, he won't play at a championship level. Dream Green, that is a great take. That's the take. See, Xander said something, but that's the take that fits Xander's take. That's the take. That's why Kellen Moore and these OTAs that you see that they're having, a bunch of these OTAs, they started today in the installment. That is no question one of the absolute most important things this offseason. Will they be able to conform a system that fits his skill set? Absolutely true. Shane Steichen, I don't know if he's a great play caller. I know this about him. I think he's a tremendous play designer and a system builder. That's what I think his skill set is. Look what he did for Anthony Richardson. And think, do you think it's any coincidence that Anthony Richardson looks so proficient in that Jalen Hurts offense? He mimicked the same skill set. He got that quarter. Get this. The Colts could have traded or drafted any quarterback that year in the draft. How high did they take Anthony Richardson? How high did he go? Was he like third or something in that? How high? I forget how high Anthony Richardson went. And that's the guy he wanted. He went fourth overall. Thanks, Mike. Richardson went fourth overall. You know what his passing percentage was at Florida? Like 53%, 51%. He wasn't very good. But you know what Shane said? I don't care about pass completion percentage. I don't care about numbers. You know what I care about? This guy can run my RPO system. That RPO system that he built in Philly is now tailor-made for Anthony Richardson. You know what Anthony Richardson would do in Philly? He would be insane great. Because they're the same skill set guys. He's just bigger. He's just bigger. Hey, listen, maybe one day someone wins a Super Bowl with that style of play where a guy has 22 touchdowns passing and 15 rushing. Maybe that happens, but it ain't right now. Why? Because the NFL is protecting these guys. You know what's crazy? Have we not realized the one thing that the NFL and what the Eagles and what everyone has learned from Cam Newton. NFL referees are not going to give you the benefit of the doubt if you take off running and you're putting up 15 rushing touchdowns. You're going to allow to get killed. Because guess what? The NFL doesn't want quarterbacks with high rushing numbers because it doesn't sell and the optics aren't good. This isn't a Jeffrey Lurie deal. This is an NFL optics. That's not sexy to watch. I think this is a 3-year window besides how many quarterbacks have been to the Super Bowl in the last 3 years and won it. You understand what I'm saying here? Cam Newton is the prime example of how the NFL was not able to legislate penalties against him. They allowed that guy to get annihilated. They didn't protect him. Referees in today's NFL, that's why Hurts is not being coached to be an RPO and open field runner anymore. Because the refs are not going to give that quarterback the benefit of the doubt. They'll give Brady it. Why? Brady's a drop back guy. Does having different OCs each year affect a quarterback, Dan? It does. I'm not going to deny that. But that's an organizational failure. That's an organizational failure because that's by design, Martin. Martin, that's by design. You're going to have a new coordinator next year anyway, no matter what happens. Jalen Hurts will not have the same coordinator next year. He will not. Moore's either going to get fired or hired. There's no way around it. I mean, like I said, if that guy takes you to the NFC Championship game, he's not going to go, hey, well, let me come back to Philly. He's going to go get a head coaching job. You're not seeing what these jobs are paying now? These jobs are now paying $10, $18 million now. You got head coaches that are first-time guys making $12, $13 million. You must be under some crazy assumption that these offensive coordinators are making $8, $9 million. They're not. They're making $1.5 million. Some of these guys make actually less than the college offensive coordinators. We're winning the Super Bowl. I hope you do, kid. Be great for my show. That's where you guys, once again, fall on deaf ears here with this. I'm not rooting against the kid. I'm telling you who you are. Hurts full gold without Surtain or without Shane Steichen. If anything, our division is pretty weak. Okay? We usually split with Dallas. I think you sweep Dallas. I think you sweep the Giants, and I think you split with the Commanders again. How much let's see here. Vic Fangio never lost to the Cowboys. No, he just lost to Brian Johnson. Eagles coordinators will be a revolving door because of the usual competitive teams. No, because you don't have a play-calling head coach. By the way, that autism event, I looked at some of the highlights and I saw some of the coverage of it. It's a really cool event that the Eagles put on. Kudos to them. It's a real big factor that they have in that building, and it's something that matters to Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles. Got to give them kudos. That's a really wonderful event. All the players show up, and all the players embrace all the fans and such. I think it's a great event. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl bed of the RPO. Steven, yes. He ran the RPO like Mahomes ran the RPO. Jalen Hurts will have more passing yards than Josh Allen in 24. How in the world will you – that's the same shit, senor, they said about the Kansas City Chiefs when Tyreek Hill. And what did Mahomes do? He broke the single-season passing yardage record. Sure. Okay. There's not one thing, technically, that Jalen has done in the last 3 years that supersedes anything as a skill set player that Josh Allen has done. Nothing. 0 more touchdowns. Only 8 more picks. He's won more games. Higher completion percentage. All of that. You guys make it sound like this guy here is a turnover machine. Well, that's not true. He's got more wins. More wins. Sills, did you see how Jordan Davis looked? I really don't care how he looks. I want to know how he's going to play. Okay? Great. Is he good enough? I think it's wonderful and it's a great sign. But always remember this. That's exterior. It's exterior. Let's see what he's going to do when he gets on a football field. All I'm saying. And by the way, do I want Jordan Davis to lose a ton of weight being a nose? I don't know. I need a run gap guy in there. Not a pass rusher. He's not a pass rusher. He is not a pass rusher. Okay? Steven, last 3 years, Allen's won more games. Same 3 years that Hurts has been starting. Josh Allen is a regular season hero. Steve, once again, he doesn't have to go through the shitty NFC like Hurts does. Hurts could never get through that AFC. Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Last year, the Eagles lost field position. Yeah, because they didn't run the ball effectively, especially in the second half. If you put Hurts on that Bills and Allen on the Eagles, it isn't remotely close on who. Fact. Here. But it's really not just a Josh Allen conversation. Is Jalen Hurts good enough to win a Super Bowl? Xander made a great point. Sills, on a good team with good play calling, he got there. You can't just dismiss that. He's right. You can't. How many years are you going to lean on that? His entire career? Okay. I don't think that's awful. If Jordan Davis can be more like Vince Wilfork, that's who I thought he should be like when they drafted him. So you're making excuses? I'm not making excuses. I'm telling you what is up in the AFC and the NFC. That's not an excuse. Are you under some sort of guise that there's not better quarterbacks in the AFC? Or are you just denying that? Seals, is there any DC in today's game that resembles Jim Johnson? I'll tell you what, man. I like Jim Schwartz in Cleveland. I like what he does in Cleveland. I like that coach. Gambles a little bit too much. You got to kind of stay on the reservation. He doesn't like a lot of freelancing, but I actually like him. Todd Bowles, another guy. Todd does a great job of blitzing. I think Leslie Frazier's a good one. Yeah. I think Leslie Frazier. Belichick's probably the best of all time. Sills is making excuses. Wow. Josh Allen plays Mahomes. So get this. Senor thinks Josh Allen playing Mahomes is an excuse. And Baker Mayfield playing Jalen Hurts is not. Or that's not an excuse? Or what? I'm confused. What is it? What are you trying to suggest to me, Senor, that playing against Baker Mayfield is an easier road to the NFC Championship game than playing against the 3-time MVP in the Super Bowl? Is that what you're suggesting? Is it? Well, I'm confused, Senor. I'm confused. So, playing against Patrick Mahomes, a 3-time Super Bowl MVP, is the equivalent of Jalen playing against Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Is that what you're saying? Really? Huh. Jim nearly cost you a Super Bowl, but as history writes, he didn't. Okay? Just curious. Jalen Hurts beat Mahomes and Josh Allen in games that didn't matter. You lost home field in the East anyway. And he turned around and laid it. Hey, it's one thing to beat those guys. It's another thing to turn around and lose the shitty guys. Let's move on. I made my point. Your guy's not good enough. I'm with Emmanuel Acho. He's not good enough to win a Super Bowl unless everything's perfect to at least get you back in that situation. And everything is not perfect this year. Head coach, and there's a question mark on Moore. Get this. You guys are mad because I point out a 51-game sample size on who Jalen Hurts is, and he's not in the top 15. In today's pass-happy NFL, and you're trying to tell me you have a guy that's good enough. Okay, 22 he was, but we all know that's never going to revisit this because they're not going down that route. That's why they got Barkley. It's crazy how I can name 13 other guys that have done more with less. No, last 3 years, Allen's got 35 wins. Hurts has 33 wins. That's the number. Crazy. Emmanuel had a bum-ass Kurt. You know what? That has nothing to do with a conversation. How good you were, how bad you were, has nothing to do with it. Emmanuel Acho's not taking it personal out on the Eagles. I've heard him actually praise the fan base. But when somebody brings up a point or has a point of conversation that you don't like, what you'll do, you'll just somehow dismiss it. Right? By the way, today, we will have on Joe Theismann, former Monday Night Football host, NFL Most Valuable Player. We will talk to him. That'll be at 3:30. We will also talk to Gary Cobb. We have something planned special for you. Xander doesn't even know this. Gary's at a golf event with former Eagle players. He's going to try to put on some of the former players while he's at this event. I have no idea who may rear their head at 4:30. Our good friend Gary Cobb from Fox 29. Xander, did you get that picture I sent of him at USC? I want G Cobb to see that picture of him at USC. So Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. By the way, tomorrow, Angelo Cataldi will join us as well. That'll be tomorrow. So we know our team, but what we don't like is people like you keep talking about our team in a bad light. What? In a bad light? I'm pointing out where you need to get better. Bad light? Boy, I'll tell you what, Philly, you could never be coached. You think coaches sit around there kissing players' asses all day long? Or do you work on the things that you need to work on to be great? What do you think they sit around doing? drinking Slurpees. You work on your deficiencies. You work on your failures. Man, I'll tell you what, most of the people that watch this show and most of the people that listen to it could never be coached. Could never be coached. Never. And by the way, 304 says it. If you're sensitive, you in the wrong business. You in the wrong business. Seals, do you think Allen will have a 1,000-yard receiver? No, I don't. It won't matter, though. Mahomes hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver in the last 2 years. What's it mattered there? Didn't matter also with Wentz. 1,000-yard receivers? What's that got the Dolphins, the Seahawks, and the Eagles in the last 3 years? Or last 2 years? What's that got you? Seahawks, Dolphins, and Eagles. What's it got you? Curious. Yes, Wentz did go for 4,000 yards, jackass. Yes, he did. Where's Sims another? Oh, there are 4 types of memory you're talking about, one of them. Will Josh Allen have more or less than 5? I don't know, but I know he'll have 4,500 passing yards and 30-some-odd touchdowns like he does every year. What's he averaging now? Let's see. He's got 13,000 yards in 3 years. Well, he's going to average 4,000 yards. A little over 4,000, 4,200, 4,300, something there. And he's going to average 30 touchdowns, 35 touchdowns. He's got 100 in 3 years. 35 touchdown passes? I don't know. He's going to go for, here's what he's done. 3,200 yards, 4,200 yards, and 35 touchdowns. That's what he'll do. Yeah. Yeah. Allen will never win a Super Bowl. Not that easy, my friends. There's only 4 active ones right now that have won Super Bowls that are starters. You think this is easy? Okay, I mean, there's only 4 starting quarterbacks in pro football that have won Super Bowls. And you guys are making it go, well, hey, he'll never win. He may not. He may not win. Okay? He may not. Sills, let's make a bet. $500 to a charity of our choice if Hurts doesn't win a Super Bowl in 2 years. Time, okay. Steven, okay. I'll do that. Steven, you make sure you post that on my Twitter page or my X at Dan Sileo Show. In the next 2 years, Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl, I'll donate $500 to a charity of your choice. And if he doesn't, you do me. Fair? Okay. I'll take those odds. Who else wants to do that next 2 years? Who else wants to do that? In the next 2 years, Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl. Anybody else? I'll give you my Venmo, too, just so you know. I'll give you my Venmo. Tell you what, they got some pretty good tight ends and a really good running back up there in Buffalo. I'd be careful, guys. I'd be careful. Kincaid and Bush are Pro Bowlers.